All right, guys. Well, one, as always, thank you so much for investing in yourself, investing into the mind maintenance of today, getting on these calls. We are all busy, right? But it's making a commitment to the main machine that's going to make all your dreams come true, and that's your mind, that's your body, and then it transitions to your business. As you guys know, I don't just bring in anybody into this community. I want to make sure that I'm bringing in people that are doing things at some of the highest levels in the country. And this is exactly who this next guest is. Glenn Lundy, I followed him on he's got just to give you guys an introduction. If you guys still are on Clubhouse, some of you I know were on, popped off, but he's got probably one of the best Clubhouse shows called The Breakfast of Champions. If you guys follow this, not only does he deliver amazing content, but for the most part, some of the guests that he has on this show, guys, are some of the people that we all watch on social media, learn from. You see in Forbes, you see on TV, some of the highest performing entrepreneurs in the world. But not only does he have a few shows, actually, but I also want to share with you guys as far as business, as I, kind of shared in the Harvest. He's the only person in the world that grew a car dealership 800% in 5 years, going from 120 cars to 1,000 cars in a month in a small town. I believe it was Kentucky, right, Glenn? Kentucky had 9,600 people. Guys, think about that, right? So every time when we get on these calls, I want you, and I share this with you, to prep your mind for questions, because when you hear something like this, there are not many business questions that you can't have answered from somebody who performed and who achieved this stuff at a very high level. Now, not only has he done this, but what he is doing now is showing the world how to do it also. So he has his own coaching community, his own coaching program. He travels the country helping car dealerships grow and scale. And it's just, if you guys, as I always say, follow our speaker, support them, share them, digest their content, because there's some speakers, every now and then I'll get somebody, I'm like, man, I'm going to have to work to make sure that this is going to be energized call. You know what I mean? And Glenn is one of those to where, man, I don't need to do nothing. He's just going to blow this up, and I know it. But I just really want you guys to know you're going to be energized. You're going to be inspired. We all know it's not just getting the information and being hyped up. It's doing the work after. And what's going to help you do the work after is when you follow him and you're consistently reminded every single day of the message that he said and his new content, because we know we need these reminders every day. So with that being said, be dialed in, no multitasking. Not many times you get access to people like this to interact with and learn from. Write down your questions. There are no stupid questions. I want you guys to get every ounce of value out of this call. And Glenn, thank you so much, man, for taking the time out of your massively busy schedule to pour into our community, man. I'm very, very, very excited about this.
Bro, it's an honor. Are you kidding me, man? There's no place I would rather be, right? I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to meet all of these amazing superhumans that are in the room, and excited for the conversation today. Before we get started, though, Devin, all these, just where I see names, you said no multitasking. I mean, why am I not seeing faces? Why don't I see Will Garcia's face, Jason's face, Nicole's face, Adam's face?
Let's go.
Ainget's face? Like, if you're hiding behind the little black screen, that tells me you're halfway in and you're halfway out. That's what that says to me. No offense. I hate to start our relationship this way, but unless for some reason, unless you're like nude, I mean, if you're nude, then stay on the black screen. I'm totally okay with that. But if you're not nude, right? If you are clothed and you're on a black screen, it tells me you're halfway in and you're halfway out. And I'm just telling you, you ain't going to get where you want to go halfway in, halfway out. It ain't going to work like that.
Love it. Love it, man. That's what it's about. It's about challenging people to not just show up the right way. I share this all the time. A guy, one of the coaches that I follow, he says, guys, when you show up to, your business meetings, do you show up with a bag over your head? If the answer is no, turn your screen on, let people see your face to know that you're dialed in and consuming this content. So right. I appreciate that, man. Let's go, guys. Turn your screens on unless you're driving.
I see Will Garcia now. Excited to see him. I see Galen. I understand y'all are driving. I see Andrew. It's great to see your face. Kelly just turned hers on. I'm glad you're here. For those of you that were already all in, right? I see Tyler was all in from the get-go, and David and Ken and Danielle and Linda and Tim and what is that? Emilio? A beautiful name, man. I love that. Jason, Orest, great to see all of you guys. So yeah, let's dive in. Devin, I'm ready, man. Let's go.
Love it, man. So, the first thing is, and guys, what I want you to know that you're going to get from this call as I posted in the group, right? Glenn's going to talk about, right, how he helped grow a business. Forget about it being a car dealership, a business to that level, right? So Glenn, I'm going to want you to kind of start us from the beginning and, hey, how did you grow that business? What were the things that you seen? What were the corrections that you made? Kind of to scale it, maybe talk about like as you were growing, because a lot of people here are looking to grow their business. And it's like, hey, what can I forecast as I continue to get this business busier or to scale it? And then guys, we're going to talk about, as I mentioned, Glenn's going to hit on high performance parenting. Glenn has 8 kids and does a lot of stuff, right? So he's going to highlight that. And then, after that, Glenn, we could talk about your journey in Clubhouse and how you literally exploded your brand through Clubhouse and done some amazing things in the morning routine and all that good stuff.
Yeah, man, I'm all about it, right? 800% everything. That's why I got 8 kids, man. I gotta take
there we go.
I gotta take everything to that level, man. But no, appreciate the introduction, and I really do. I hope that I'm not looking to offend anybody right out the gate this morning. I really am excited, and I appreciate you taking time, because I know that there's a trillion places you could be right now. There's a trillion things that you can do or could be doing. And you chose to spend this time with me and with Devin, and I really appreciate that. So I want to start with there. As far as my journey, in the automotive space, I have in my life and in the automotive space, I really have 2 seasons, like 2 really big seasons. And so I spent the first 8 years that I was in the automotive space. I went from salesperson to general sales manager. There's multiple steps along the way, but I did all of that. My career was successful. The company that I worked for didn't grow at all. Like, I grew over 8 years. I got promotions and made more money and did all of the things. The company didn't grow, like, at all. And my life outside of work was a disaster. Terrible relationships. Me and my ex broke up, lost custody of my daughter, like all those stuff, all the things, right? So then fast forward, I got a second opportunity at this dealership that Devin's referring to. It was a car dealership in Paris, Kentucky. And I did not want the same result that I had gotten before. And so I made a decision. I said, okay, well, in order to get different results, we're going to have to do things differently, right? You guys all understand that, right? Let me get a little head nod if you understand. In order to get different results, we have to do things differently. And so I was intentional, and I sat down and I said, okay, what do I hate about the car business? As an employee, what did I hate about it? And I made a list of everything that I hated as an employee in the auto industry. And then I made a second list of what do customers hate about the car business, right? I'm sure you guys could help me with that list if I was doing it again right now, right? And so I wrote down all the things that the customers hate about the car business. And then I wrote right there at the top of the paper, I put, we are going to do everything 180 degrees different than what's on this list. Like, literally opposite. If the customer hates the fact that we go back and forth all the time in negotiations, we're just not going to go back and forth anymore. We're just going to do the exact opposite. If the customer hates that there's no transparency about pricing, then we're just going to do the opposite. We're going to be completely transparent about the pricing. If an employee hates that he's having to work 80 hours a week in the car dealership, then we're just not going to do it. We're just going to set up 40-hour work weeks. Like, we literally went the exact opposite direction of everyone in the industry. And in doing so, we were able to create the opposite result. Most car dealerships, most businesses really, will continue to do the same thing with small increments of growth, right? Maybe 2% over year, 5% year over year. Even big manufacturers, right? General Motors and all these brands that you guys know, they project like 4% increase year over year. Like, that's their projection. That's their goal. That's their target. They're trying to do roughly the same. So by doing the exact opposite, we got the exact opposite result. And we were able to grow the dealership 800% in just under 5 years, right? Making it the second largest used car franchise dealership in America. Now, a lot of people say, well, Glenn, what was the first thing that you did? And Devin kind of touched on it. He said, let's start at the beginning. And so for all of you who owns a business in here, or is there business owners? Okay, we got quite a few business owners. Good. Who's in, raise your left hand if you're in like a leadership position at a business. Okay, leadership position. All right, good. So we've got some leaders and we've got some owners in the room. All right. Here's what I will say. You can apply this to your business immediately, whether you're a leader, whether you own the place. If you change the way you start your day, it'll make a massive impact in your business. Now, a lot of us know this about their lives. Who has a good morning routine? Anybody in here have good morning routines? Devin's got a good morning routine. Linda's got a good morning routine. Tim's like, okay, pretty good. David's got a good morning routine. Mario's got a good morning routine. Like, we've read it, right? We've read all of the successful people. If you look up the most successful people on the planet, all of them have a powerful morning routine that taps into mind, body, and spirit, right? Same is true for your business. Same is true for every business on this planet. From my world, the auto world, here's what typically happens in 99% of the dealerships that are out there, 99%. They start their day like this. Roughly 8:30, everybody shows up for work. Roughly. Some people are there at 8:37. Some people are there at 8:22. Some of them might get there at 8:49. One guy's running late because he slept in, right? So roughly they start at 8:30, roughly. And then at 8:30, guess what everybody does? They fight over the coffee machine. Who's a coffee drinker in here? Where's my coffee drinkers? I know there's some coffee drinkers in here, right? They all got to get their coffee. And if they don't, oh, Heather raised her hand, right? If they don't get coffee, they got to go get a Red Bull energy drink. Where's my energy drink drinkers? I know we got some energy drink drinkers in here. Devin, you raised your hand for both. He's coffee and energy drink, right? All right. So they grab their coffee, they grab their energy drink first thing in the morning. And then they talk about, especially with the younger generation, they talk about what they did all last night, which is typically like, I don't know, chasing girls, going out to the club, playing Fortnite, any of these things, right? Staying up till 3:00 in the morning, et cetera, et cetera. So they have all these conversations about what they did the night before. Now, I don't know how it looks in your businesses, but in my business, that conversation is followed by, what are we having for breakfast? And then they all decide who's going to go get the breakfast, right? Are we having McDonald's breakfast today? Do we want to get the Chick-fil-A little biscuits with the chicken? And then they decide who's going to go get the breakfast. And about 10:30, 11 o'clock, that's when we start to actually get production out of our people. That's what it looks like in my industry. Yours might be a little bit different, but my guess is it's something similar. My guess is well, maybe not, you guys are in this, but let's just say most businesses out there are slow starters. They're slow to get going first thing in the morning. There's not as much productivity right out the gate, right? So what we did is we changed the way we started our day. Every single day at my dealership, we have a morning meeting. That morning meeting follows a very simple process that I'm going to give all of you right now that you can apply in your life. It's a very simple process. This is a game changer. Okay. Everybody real quick in the chat, down there in the chat, I want you to type the word lead. Type the word lead. All right. Type it. I want to see it. I want to see it. Boom. Tim's in there. Boom. There it is. Lead. Okay. Fernando. Got it. Jason Coyle. Lead. Tyler. Lead. Okay. Good. Lead. Okay. Good. I see the word lead. You guys all spelled it wrong. Every single one of you. You guys are like, what? I'm going to spell it for you right now. Okay. I'm going to spell it for you. Boom. Boom. That's how we spell the word lead. All right. Now you guys are looking at that. You're probably like, who is this guy that Devin brought in here that spells lead with 2 D's? I thought he was smart for a second, but he's telling me lead is spelled wrong. All right. I'm going to tell you why lead is spelled this way, not the way you spelled it. All right. You're going to understand just in a second. All right. So the word lead is an acronym. It stands for listen, encourage, advise, and develop. And the last D stands for daily. Listen, encourage, advise, and develop, and do it daily. Does anybody know the difference between consistency and daily? Who here consistently works out? Raise your hand if you consistently work out. Fernando consistently works out. All right, Adam consistently works out. I saw Tim consistently works out. All right. So those that just raise their hand, you consistently work out. Does that mean you work out 7 days a week? Nope. Tim, how many days a week do you work out? 4 days a week. Fernando's 7. All right. Adam, did you raise your hand? How many days a week do you work out? 5. Okay. All right. So right now, the definition of consistency, I said who consistently works out. Tim said he does. Fernando says he does. Right. And Adam said he does. And they gave me 3 different numbers of what consistently looks like. Tim said 4 days a week. Fernando said 7. Adam said 5. Right. Consistency. When we use the word consistency, that's up for debate of what consistently looks like. Right. Daily. Can we debate daily? How many days a week is daily? 7. Right? There's no argument about it. 7 days a week is daily. Your job, if you want to be really effective and scale your business, is you need to be an incredible leader daily, every day, not a consistent leader, a daily leader. And we're going to follow this process. Listen, encourage, advise, and develop. And we do it daily. So here's what I teach and here's what I did. Our daily morning meetings followed this model right here. Yours should too. Every morning you should have a meeting with your team. Now, I don't care if you have a team of 1, you have a team of 10, you have a team of 1,000. Every single morning you want to start, first of all, on time. We started our meeting at 8:30. It did not start at 8:31. It did not start at 8:27. Did not start at 8:35. It started at 8:30 every single day. Now, who do you think was the first person in the room for our daily meetings? Any guesses? That's right, Tim. Me. I was the first person in the room for my daily meetings. You know why I was the first person in the room for my daily meetings? Because every other manager in the business is the last one in the room. They think all the employees should be in there having a seat, and then they come strolling in all high and mighty, the last one to come into the room once everybody's in position, right? Screw that, man. I'm out. I'm the first one in the room every time for my daily morning meetings. Now, guess what? Guess what I'm doing while I'm in the room? That first letter in lead. I'm listening. That's all I'm doing. I'm listening. Because if you're the first one in the room, guess what you're going to hear? You're going to hear that Ken, your employee Ken, his grandfather passed away yesterday. You're going to hear him talking about that with a friend, right? Or you're going to hear that Danielle and Tiffany, that Danielle and Tiffany are having trouble with their husbands. You're going to hear that conversation. Or you're going to hear that Will and Mario were up playing Fortnite till 3:00 in the morning last night, right? You're going to hear them talking about that. When you're the first one in the room, you get to hear the real conversations from your people. What's really going on in their lives? And I don't know if you've heard this quote before, you probably have. You got to touch somebody's heart before you ask for their hand. And the best way to touch somebody's heart is to know what's going on in their lives. Too many managers want to come in and tell people what to do. Great leaders listen first. Anybody ever heard 2 ears, 1 mouth? We're supposed to listen twice as much as we speak, right? Your mama should have taught you that. If she didn't, I don't know why she didn't love you enough. All right. No, I'm just kidding. Right? But 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you speak. So your daily morning meetings should start with this process. Boom, we listen. You're the first one in the room and we listen. Now, I also suggest that you play some sort of upbeat music, preferably without words. Why without words? Well, words have power. Words have influence. So upbeat music, right? I usually would put something on the screen too, like People Are Awesome videos on YouTube. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but People Are Awesome. Look those up on YouTube. It's incredible videos of people doing things that you would never imagine people could do because it inspires my people to think they can do things that they never thought they could do. But we have upbeat music. Now, listen to me. We all have different ideas of great music, right? Some of you might think country music's amazing, and that's amazing. My mom was a country singer. Some people might think hip hop music's amazing. I'm with you. I love me some hip hop. Some people might think heavy metal is amazing music. Hey, and there are times, and there is a time and a place for heavy metal. There really is, but it's not first thing in the morning. I'm just telling you right now. Die. That's not where we want to start our day. All right. We don't want to start with that. Now, maybe later, maybe in the gym when we're working out, we could listen to a little bit of that. That's not how we just want to start our daily meeting, man. We want upbeat, positive music. We don't want anybody gang banging on bacon. All right. Like they said in Friday, you gang banging on bacon? Don't gang bang on bacon. All right. Let's gang bang on dinner, but we ain't gang banging on breakfast. We got to start our day in a positive way. All right. So I want you to be the first person in the room. You're going to listen. You're going to play some music that's going to be upbeat. That's going to set the tone and the energy. Now, when you start your meeting, you're going to go to the E. The E stands for what? Those of you guys that are following me, go ahead and drop it in the chat. I want to make sure, Stu, you're with me here. The E stands for, come on, there it is. There it is. Linda got it. Boom, 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 boom. Encourage, right? So now we're going to encourage. And we're going to encourage the behaviors we want to see more of. People always ask me, well, what do you do? What do you highlight? Anything you want to see more of. So I would start my meeting and I would say, all right, everybody, I just want to let you know, Trevor's in the room. What's up, Trevor? I saw Trevor yesterday out on the lot picking up trash, dude. This guy right here is one of the best employees I've ever seen. He was picking up cigarette butts all around the building yesterday. Everybody give it up for Trevor. Yeah, woo! Right? And we encourage the behaviors we want to see more of. And then I'd be like, Jim Butts, did you guys see Jim Butts? He hit a hat trick yesterday. The dude's killing it. He's the top sales guy. Way to go, right? And I do that all day at encouraging. Or I'd say, check it out. We just got a Google review. Kelly Harris. She's a rock star. Look at this Google review. This customer loves Kelly, right? And we encourage. Boo, we clap, we cheer. We encourage the behaviors we want to see more of. Every single meeting. Now, why do we do this? How much time do I have, Devin?
Until 10, as long as you want to go, because I will sit here all day, dude.
I'm gonna give you this because I think it's so powerful. All right. So why do we do this? All right. Psychologically, I want you to think back. Who has kids? Anybody have kids? All right. Okay. A lot of you have kids. All right. Good. Okay. Your kids, my guess is at some point you potty trained your kids, right? And when you potty trained your kids, right? When your kids first potty training, what do you do every time they do it right? You celebrate. You celebrate, right? Woo! My son Fisher, right? He was the most recent one that we potty trained out of the 8, right? And so we have all these kids, right? So when Fisher went pee-pee in the potty, we literally had a parade outside of that bathroom, right? Me and all my other kids and my wife. And we're like, Fisher went pee-pee in the potty. Fisher went pee-pee in the potty. Fisher went pee-pee in the potty because he's a really big boy. Yeah, Fisher. We're celebrate, right? Dude, we're programmed from a very young age to seek that type of encouragement. How often are you getting that at work? How often are you giving that at work? There's a reason 70% of employees are disengaged because nobody's celebrating their wins. Do we celebrate? And guess what? We don't celebrate consistently. We celebrate daily. Every single day we celebrate. And when people see me celebrating old Jim Butts for all his sales, guess what? They want to be that too. They want to be the person that we're cheering for. They want to be the center. So not only does it lift up and encourage Jim, but it impacts every single person around him. Your daily morning meeting, if you start it with listening, get the music that's going to set the tone, and then encourage the behaviors you want to see more of, now you have earned the right. All right. You've now earned the right to advise. Every single meeting, you should advise people on the areas of growth that they need to work on. Now, here's what most managers do. Most managers go straight into advise, right? They walk into the room. Here's what you did wrong. Here's what you did wrong. Here's what you did wrong. You suck, you suck, you suck. Now get out there and kick ass, right? Who wants to work for that? I spent 8 years of my life That's what I experienced. You suck, you suck, you suck. Now get out there and kick some ass. And guess what? We went nowhere. But if you earn the right to advise by listening first, encouraging second, now as a leader, when you tell people, when you say, hey, Linda, I noticed that your performance is a little under where we need it to be right now. There's a couple things that you were supposed to do. You didn't knock those things down. It would really, we need to work on this. We need to work on this and develop this together, right? Linda's going to go, well, normally he listens to me and normally he encourages me. So I'm actually going to listen to what the heck he has to say when he goes to advise me. And I'm going to do everything I can to get better. So I would go into my meeting, right? I would listen, the music's up, boom, I'm encouraging, I'm clapping and cheering, Fisher with people in the party! And then I'm like, hey guys, hey, yesterday, by the way, we were off target by like 20%. I looked at my activities in there and I noticed, that you were supposed to be doing 12 phone calls. Some of you only got in 8 phone calls. I saw some cigarette butts around the corner. You left the doors unlocked, right? Now's the time where we can advise. And they will receive that because you've earned it. Now, once we've advised, now we have to go into develop. This is also where most managers drop off. Managers like to advise. You leaders take the time to develop. Please do not tell me what to do and do not take the time to show me how to do it. It's awful. Every single one of your morning meetings, the people should walk out of that room knowing something they did not know when they walked in. If some of you are thinking, well, I've tried morning meetings and nobody on my team ever wants to do it. They don't want to be in my morning meetings. Well, that's because they're not walking out of there with anything valuable. Let's just be honest. You're talking about the same old stuff. You're beating the same old dead horse. Take some time, read a book, learn something, and then turn around and teach it. My team, we learned something new every single meeting. They walked out knowing something they didn't know before. And the only way I could do that is I had to be an avid student. I had to be constantly consuming new information so that I could constantly be a teacher and provide that to them. The greatest leaders are readers. I'm sure you've heard it before, right? The greatest leaders are readers. So we listen, we encourage, we advise, and we develop, and we do it daily. If you change the way your company starts your day, it'll make a massive impact in your results. Now, what's great about this LEAD acronym with the extra D, what's great about it is this also works in your family dynamic. When you're talking to your spouse, listen, encourage, advise, and develop. When you're talking to your kids, listen, encourage, advise, and develop. When you're about to pick up the phone to call a client or a prospect, put the acronym right there in front of your, on your computer screen so you never forget it. Remind yourself, listen, encourage, advise, and develop. Listen, encourage, advise, and develop. And then pick up that phone, right? And go.
I gotta say, Glenn, man, when you're going into this, in my mind, and again, this is just me trying to get better at learning, right? In my mind, it was just for meetings. It is so important. Do not miss that this framework, it applies to everything.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of my kids. I'm thinking, guys, I just didn't want you to miss that. Anything, don't just think, oh, this is a meeting, a work meeting, no, everything. You just said it, clients, making calls, appointments, networking. It's good stuff. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to pinpoint that, man, that was a light bulb for me.
You're good.
I didn't want anybody to
cut me off. I'm glad you cut me off because that means it hit. And that's what I needed it to do. It hit, right? Listen, encourage, advise, and develop, and do it daily. It'll change the way you lead, and it'll ultimately change your results. Hope that's helpful, Devin.
No doubt. And when you talk about daily, and I know a guy that you know too, the guy Ryan Stewman, he made this post about X amount of when you want to make X amount of dollars per year. He broke it down to pretty much identifying what do you need to do per day, because so many people, they have a long-term goal, and then just like human beings, you get in your emotion. Maybe I want to do it this month. Next thing you know, fourth quarter's approaching. You're like, man, it's the fourth quarter. I'm nowhere near my goal. 2 months later, you got 2 months left. Let me try and cram, and you never hit your goal. And he broke it down to, you guys have to understand that these big goals are, the funny thing is, it's if you just do these small habits, daily, you will crush your yearly goal and it won't seem overwhelming. But it's like consistent, man. I may even get that word out of my language.
That's right.
I mean, forget about kids doing it consistent. It's daily. And that was just so important when you talk about that word daily, man. And that's where those small hinges swing big doors. Those daily activities, those small hinges, man, they can swing those massive results. So,
and one thing I'll say on that, Devin, a quick little note, when you're, let's just use a money target, right? If you're setting a money target and you're setting a date on that money target and you figure out what you need to do daily, make sure that that's not just, don't just say, okay, I'm trying to make $1 million divided by da 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 da, and I'm going to have to make $26,000 a day or whatever it is, right? If you just have that same flat number, you're going to forget it, right? Or not forget it, but it's not going to be, you're not going to be intentional about it. That number should go like this, because this is what your business does. And this is what your life does, right? You might perform better on Wednesdays than you do on Sundays. You might get better results from your clients on a Thursday than you do on a Saturday. So as you set that target, make it sure it's a moving target, right? All right, I got to do $5,000 on Monday. I got to do $2,000 on Tuesday. I got to do 6,300 on Wednesday. Right? So we have a target for each day, but make it a moving target for each day. That way you're engaged and you're intentional. What is the target for the day? Same with your team. I have 2 different dealerships. I have one dealership where they're like, if we just sell 4 cars a day, everything's great. 4 cars a day, folks. We just got to sell 4 cars a day. All you got to do is 4 cars a day. Their team zones out on the whole 4 cars a day thing after a few weeks. They're just tired of hearing it. Whereas if it's today, we got to sell 7. And then the next day they come in and you're like, today we got to sell 2. And then the next day they come in and you're like, today we got to sell 15, right? Then they're engaged daily with what that target is. So I just want to add that on there.
Incredible stuff. All right. So let's move on from car dealerships. Now, Clubhouse, right? And I heard you say it was a very powerful line and you highlighted it. It's like, I wanted to change as many people's lives as possible. And then I realized if I can change their morning routine, I can change their life. And, one of the things that you did was you started Clubhouse. And the reason why I want you guys to understand this, right, is because some of you, maybe you stopped using Clubhouse. It doesn't mean the 6 billion people in the world that some of those people don't still use Clubhouse. Right. So a lot of times, people, when they start something, you know how it goes, they want instant gratification. If they don't get a massive audience within the first month, oh, I knew this didn't work. I'm not like, tell us what that journey looked like with Clubhouse and building your audience. And, just share that journey because it really helped, in my opinion, and you can verify it with your brand too. I mean, you're just building community behind your name. Right.
That's
so
right.
share us that Clubhouse journey, what that looked like and what you learned. Like maybe if there was any, obviously I know you guys listen to a lot of personal development, stuff like that. But these are some when I had this guest on, these were some tips and I was like, man, this was really a life-changing piece of advice.
Yeah.
I think I had Grant Cardone on your show. I mean, you're pretty close with Grant Cardone and everybody knows who he is, whether you like him or not. The guy is, a world dominator. So, what did you learn from some of these 1%er guests that you had on there too, if this helps?
Yeah, quite a few things. So there's a lot in what you just shared right there, Devin. So in order to tap into Clubhouse, we actually have to go back a little bit further. So while I was still at the dealership, it was important that we branded ourselves on social media. So I started doing a lot of social media work. And then this guy, Colin Kaepernick, anybody know Colin Kaepernick? You guys know that name? This guy, Colin Kaepernick, started taking a knee during the national anthem, and the whole country went into an uproar, right? It was this big divisive thing. He's allowed to take a knee. He shouldn't take a knee. He gets paid all this money. These professional athletes need to stay out of politics. Black Lives Matters, all these things, right? It's caused all this division. And I just remember hopping online, and it was so negative. There was so much negativity. People were so divided and fighting over it. It was making me sick to my stomach. Literally something in me was so bothered by all of these conversations that was happening online. And I had learned in my life, and something that I'll share with all of you, actually, I have learned in my life that if something really, really bothers you, right? Not like, oh, it bugs you or you hate it and then you blow it off. Like if something's making you physically sick, it bothers you so much, that's the universe's way of saying you should do something about it. That's my belief. And so finally I said, all right, Glenn, instead of being sick to your stomach about it, what are you going to do about it? What action can you take? And my thought was, well, I can't eradicate negativity in social media. It's never going to happen. But what I can do is I can create a space, a safe space that will always be motivation, education, inspiration. I can create a safe space where people can come to get away from all that other nonsense. And maybe it's one little tiny sliver in the corner of the internet, but at least it's a safe place that people can come. And I might as well do it first thing in the morning, because if you change the way people start their day, it'll make a massive impact in their life. And because I have 8 kids, and if I want to do anything daily, I got to do it at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Right? And so I just started this show. I went live on January 11th of 2018 was when I did the first show. And I called it Rise and Grind, and I went live at 5:30 in the morning from the utility closet in my house. Now, I had to be in the utility closet in my house because I couldn't wake up any of the kids. My wife said it was cool to do the show, but it was not cool to wake up any of the babies. And so I set up a ring light. I set up a laptop. There was a water heater on the back side of the ring light that nobody could see. And I was in the utility closet. I put up this chalkboard right here. That chalkboard that you see behind me right there. I put up that chalkboard behind me, and I would put the date on it each day. And I just started going live. And the first day, it was like a 6-minute show, and it was me doing this. The lights are so bright. Oh my gosh. And I had just woke up at like 5:27, and here I was live at 5:30 a.m. And fast forward, I started doing a show every single day. And fast forward in a very short amount of time, we built a community around it. We got to the point where thousands of people were starting to watch the show every day. And I was just going daily, right? Daily, do a show every day. And then I was like, well, maybe I could start bringing some guests in on Fridays to relieve me a little bit of my workload. And so I started reaching out to different people. I started doing interviews, right? I interviewed my buddy Darian Sanders, who's the Lion King on Broadway, and started reaching out to more and more people. And as we started to build this community, right, we started to build this audience. I put together, planners. We have these planners that we put together for the community. And I started doing events and all of these things, right? We started putting all these things together. And as it got bigger and bigger, then we started getting bigger asks like, hey, maybe I can get Grant Cardone to come do an interview. Maybe I can get Ed Milet to come do an interview. Maybe I can get some of these big boys to our big boys and girls, Danelle Delgados, to come do interviews. And I started asking, it just kept growing because we just kept showing up every single day. And I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I had no idea what the heck I was going to say. But I promise you, here's what happens when you go live every single day. What does this motion look like? The ladies will know, right? What does this motion look like? When you do this motion right here, this is like when you're looking in a mirror and putting on your makeup, right? When you look in a mirror and you look at yourself, every time when you go live every day, guess who you have to look at? You have to look at yourself every single day. And so when I'm sitting here telling people, hey, wake up, change the way you start your day, be disciplined, do it all daily. Guess what? I'm having to be disciplined. I'm having to do it. It's making me stronger. It's making me better because I don't want to be a liar, right? You can lie to your friends, but it sucks lying to yourself. We all know that, right? So when you go live, you're sitting there, you're looking at yourself. You're like, do I really believe the words that are coming out of my mouth? And so I got better and I got better and I got better. And we built this whole community around it, right? Fast forward, Clubhouse came out. And Clubhouse came out, and somebody told me about Clubhouse. This was January, it was December of 2020. Somebody told me about December of 2019. Gosh, it goes so fast. Whenever it was. But somebody told me about Clubhouse, and I thought, well, here's another platform. I can still do the same show that I've been doing, right? We'd done at that point like 700 and something episodes. I can do the same show that I've been doing, but here's another platform that's going to get us global reach. And so I went in, and dude, when I first went into Clubhouse, I spent 16 hours straight on the app just trying to figure it out. Like, what the heck is this? This is crazy, man. There's all these celebrities in here, all these people. Like, this is nuts. So I spent 16 hours straight. I kept lying to my wife and my kids. I was like, yeah, daddy's working. Daddy's busy. I got stuff to do. When really I was just like, boom, in breakfast or in Clubhouse. And then that month, that was on a Saturday. And then on that Sunday, I sent an email to everyone that was in my network that's successful in business. And I said, hey, we're going to start this show called Breakfast with Champions. We're going to be the #1 morning show in the world. I want you to be a part of it. If you're interested, meet me at 5 a.m. on the new Clubhouse app. And I emailed that out to my whole network of people. And the next morning, the first guest that came into the room was Grant Cardone. He was the very first person to pop into my Breakfast with Champions room. And since then, we've now done 200 episodes or so. The podcast has been downloaded 800,000 times, and we've interviewed all kinds of amazing humans, like Devin was saying. And along the way, I've learned so much. Like the art of storytelling from Les Brown is it's just unbelievable. That dude, you're weaving your story into everything you do is probably one of the most important pieces of advice I've ever been given.
That is, man, so many people hide from their story because they're ashamed of it. And your oddity is your commodity, just like Ed Milet always says. Big brands are built off of authentic, true stories. Some of them aren't, it's almost like, man, the crazier they are, the better it is for you. You know what I mean? So that is, I just want to add 2 things just so people don't forget. So you obviously heard the first person that showed up in his room was Grant Cardone. I don't want you to miss this point. Does everybody remember what exactly the environment was when he actually did his first live? In a room, a utility room with a hot water heater. How many of you right now are not executing on things you know you should be doing because you want it to be perfect? Because you're waiting for the right time. Because you're waiting to get this office. You're waiting for this. You're waiting for that. He didn't wait for anything. He went in his utility room with a hot water heater behind him, and look what happened because of it. Right? I want you guys to understand that. And the second thing is, man, which is what really is driving home with me, because as a performance coach, I like to try and make things easy for everybody so they execute. And I talk about the power of words. It's like almost taking the word goal and making it commitment. Like the power behind what you say. Hey, my goal is this. No, I'm committed to doing this. It drives it home so much more. Let's just say you're trying to start a new habit. You're trying to do better, rich, whatever that is that you're trying to do to get to a goal. Right? Replacing, man, I'm losing my train. Oh, exactly what you were just saying. I'm losing my train of thought when I'm talking about, oh man, what was the word that you say you replace it with? Why did I forget this? I said it like 5 times. The replacement of words.
Daily.
Yep. Yeah. Like just say, I need to be more consistent, right? I need to be more consistent with my health. I need to be more consistent with exercise. I need to be more consistent with my diet. Imagine changing the word when you're trying to do a new habit, instead of consistent to daily. That anchors in a whole different expectation.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I just want to share that with you guys, man, because there's so much powerful stuff. And this is life changing. This is business changing. Only if you implement this stuff. If you guys just sit on this call and listen, oh, great. Another person who wasn't a robot, wasn't anything crazy that dominated in their business and with basic shit, right? And I don't want you guys to not do anything to get yourself to that superhero version of yourself that you guys all know is deep down in there. But you got to execute the stuff that these people are talking about. And I can't stress that enough. James Butts, did you have a question before we get back to Glenn? I know you usually fire in some good stuff.
Yeah, Glenn. So I do a weekly sales meeting at my office. I'm a mortgage broker. I have 14 people on my team. And part of the attendance is on Zoom. For this method, if I said, hey, look, I want to do a daily meeting, do you think Zoom would be ineffective as far as that goes? Would I need to mandate everyone to be in person, or do you think a hybrid of partially in person, partially on Zoom, which is how I do it now, would be effective?
Yeah, I think ultimately, you know what's best for your people. Every business is a little bit different. So you know what's best for them. The key is to make sure that they're fully engaged, right? That they're fully engaged, that they're fully involved. You can still run music through Zoom. You can actually, you can run video. You can still create that same experience. You can still listen, encourage, advise, and develop. I think you can do that even with them on Zoom. But I would highly suggest going from weekly to daily. And here's an extra part to that, Jim. You're already doing the work, right? So a lot of times people are like, Glenn, I don't have 365 different things to talk about. And what I tell them is get a weekly, what is your weekly topic, which you're already doing because you're doing a weekly Saturday, and just go in depth on that all throughout the week, right? So now instead of you hitting them once with whatever that weekly topic is, you get to talk about it 6 times or 5 times or whatever it is, right? Throughout the week. And so it really cements it. So you get 52 themes for the way I do it actually is I do 12 months, big themes. Then I break it into 52 weeks. And then we break those 52 weeks into individual trainings and role playing and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think, Jim, you know your people better than I do. So I don't want to tell you one way or the other. But if you think they can fully engage from Zoom, then yeah, let them do it.
Awesome. Great question, Jim. And remember, just because it's coming to Jim, it's coming to you. You're going to be running meetings at some point, whether your vision is to grow a company or you're talking to your family, it doesn't matter. So I don't want to slow the train down. I know we were on a roll. Let's get back into the clubhouse. Grant Cardone was your first one. Now you're at thousands, 800,000 downloads, all that stuff. So what does that look like? Because the final thing is, as we're coming up against it, now you got all this stuff going on. Share us, because a lot of people, like even me, man, I got 3 kids right now, and I'm always trying to be the best father that I can be, right? And obviously run my business and stuff like that. So, within this journey, like what were some of the things that really worked for you that you learned from? Like doing all this with 8 kids, like what are the things that work? I mean, this LEAD acronym is super powerful. But share us what that journey looked like and what worked for you so you can help some of the parents on this call too.
3 kids, man. I remember when I was a part-time dad, Devin. I remember those days. Nah.
Love it.
Hey, man, here's what I learned. And please, if you don't take anything else away from this segment, please take this with you. Here's what I've learned. I've learned that this whole idea of balance that everybody talks about, I think everyone in this room knows it's BS, right? There is no real balance. But our words, like I said at the beginning of this, our words have so much power and so much energy. When someone invests in their company, they expect a return. When someone invests in the stock market, they expect a return. If someone says, I'm going to go invest time in self-development or learning or in whatever it is, when they say I'm going to invest, we all know they expect a return. But then I noticed that parents, a lot of parents like you and I, will say we're going to invest in the stock market. But when we talk about our family, we say, I'm going to go spend time with my spouse. I'm going to go spend time with my kids. I'm going to go spend time on vacation. Now, spend, as we all know, if we spend $5 out of our account has $5 less. If we invest $5, we expect more. So what I did, Devin, is I changed my whole verbiage and I started to look at it and say, okay, I'm going to make sure every minute that I am alive is going to be an investment. Therefore, I expect a return from that minute. My kids, I have 8 of them. My daughter, Willow, if you invest 5 minutes of undivided attention at the time that she needs it, that's all she needs to feel seen, heard, and significant. She needs 5 minutes. Dude, she's wild. She's super, super smart, and she can't stay focused on anything for long. So if she's like, daddy, 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 and I'm like, well, hold on. I'm on a call. She'll wear you out. But if you just go, hold on, stop what I'm doing. I'm going to invest 5 minutes in Willow right now. She'll let you roll. She'll let you roll the rest of the day, right? Now, my son, in order to get a return from my son, I have to invest more time with my son. My son needs me to go to practice with him. He needs, he wants to play soccer, so he needs me to lead him in that way. Like my son needs to feel seen, heard, and significant. He's got to like do work around the house with me. It's a different investment of time with my son in order to get an ROI, right? And so I look at everything, spending time with you guys, spending time in my company, spending time with my employees, spending time with my kids, spending time with my spouse. I look at all of it as an investment that I expect a return on. And when you look at it that way, you find some things don't take as much time as other things. You can get a return, right? My 800% Elite Auto, I invest 2 hours a week live. I serve 114 dealerships across the country in 2 hours a week live. They get everything that they need. My company makes millions of dollars, and I do it in 2 hours a week live because I'm looking at how do I get the ROI and make sure that I am investing every minute. If currently right now you're investing your time in actions that you know aren't producing what you need them to produce, throw those suckers out, man. Throw those out. So I just had to learn, Devin, screw balance. That's never going to happen. Let's invest every single minute into the people and the things that we care and love about. Make sure that we're getting a return, and you'll find you have all the time you need to get all the things done.
That reminds me of a book, The 5 Love Languages, when it talks about understanding like what really, and this is same thing for leadership, business, relationships. It's understanding like, what fires somebody up, what lights their candle. And, like Dave, one of our mentors, Dave Meltzer, always says, he was like, listen, my daughters do not want me to be around all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
And what he did learn was they love communicating on social media. He's like, listen, to get them on the phone is super tough. But if I ping them or whatever it was on social media, that's the way that I really poured into them.
That's
and
right.
That's what really helped them too. So good stuff. Butts, I see you got a quick question. Fire it in.
Yeah, Glenn, I'm looking on Instagram and there's like 5 different Glenn Lundy accounts. Which one is the real one of yours to follow?
Yeah, it's Glenn_Lundy. It's got about 30,000 followers. All those other fake ones have, I don't, yeah.
Cool.
I hate those fake accounts.
That's when you know you made it. They got like 7 fake accounts.
Oh man, and they scam people and do all kinds of things, man. It's awful. It's awful. But all we can do, it's my fault. It's my fault because I haven't gotten big enough, made enough noise to where people could spot the fake. I gotta get bigger, right? I gotta get more attention. I gotta get more energy.
They're actually using the same exact pictures and scheme. Like it says Glenn _Lundy. Then there's a bunch of other ones, and it looks like all the content is the same. That's what they're doing.
Right. But if I was like The Rock, you'd be like, hold on, is this really The Rock? Hold on, let me look. Okay, yeah, this is really The Rock. He's got like 7 million followers, 70 million followers, right? So I got to get that big where there's no question who it is. Yeah. That's where I'm at.
All right, we got some questions here. Mid. I did a full screen with these questions. All right, let's go to it. Mid, scroll down. And by the way, guys, if you have questions, get in the chat section. Whatever you need, get that $100,000 problem solved, that whatever it is. What's the one thing that you wish business-to-business sales would learn from automotive sales?
That time is most business owners' most valuable asset. So I do business to business now, right? I work with owners and general managers of car dealerships all over the country. And most of my, I don't want to say competitors, but people that do similar, not even similar work, people that work in the auto industry that are not in retail stores, they set up their model where they fly in, they spend the night, they spend all day in a dealership, and then the dealer feels obligated to take them out to dinner or to do all of these things, right? And it's just not an appreciation of people's time. So I built our company, and I let dealers know, like when I'm on a sales call, I let them know. I'm like right out the gate. I'm like, I will never waste a second of your time. If you can get the answers you need in 15 minutes, I'm going to give you the answers in 15 minutes. If it takes us 15 minutes a year to move you forward $5 million in revenue, then I'm going to give you 15 minutes. Now, if it takes hours a week, then I'm going to give you the hours a week. But ultimately, my goal is to get you the answers you need as fast as humanly possible. I learned that in sales because what do my customers want? They want the vehicle they need as fast as humanly possible. And so I wish more business to business people would learn that saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to stack this, we're going to stack that, we're going to commit to this and commit to that is not what most business owners are looking for. They want the solution as fast as humanly possible.
That was a fire answer if I heard one. I'll tell you what, that was amazing, man. And I'll tell you what, there's a guy, man, I forget his last name. I believe his name's Scott. That you work with, Glenn, and he sells everybody in Apex and Arte use this guy to buy trucks.
Yeah, Scott Simons.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that they always say is exactly what you're saying you teach your people to do. That is the exact reason why these are high-level entrepreneurs. They don't got time for BS. They want people who are going to give them the real deal, give them a great deal, and get it done quick. And everybody says the same thing. Everything that Glenn's talking about, everybody hires and gets cars through that guy because of what he's talking about. And Glenn had a big impact on Scott because of that. So I wanted you guys to know that's a real life example of entrepreneurs all across the country, not going local, going to that guy so he can ship cars out because of what Glenn's talking about right there.
Yes, sir. Speed is key, man. Speed is everything. Time is that one asset that nobody can get back, right? Everybody values time. So you become the person that gets them solutions as fast as humanly possible. You become the most valuable person in the room.
Perfect. All right, we got 2 more questions, and then we're going to sign off, and you guys are going to write your notes down and start implementing and making daily commitments on what we just learned today.
Yes, Devin's never gonna say consistently again. I love it.
Out of here. Listen, any suggestions on a morning routine or morning route before work as a parent that gets everyone up, ready and out the door before you start your day? Great question. It's Heather Jones. She's a mother. She's the one getting all the kids up. Did you mean morning routine, right? Heather, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, morning routine.
Yes, morning routine. So she's the one that gets everybody going. Like, any suggestions on that?
So Heather, if you go to themorning5.com, I'm going to drop it right here, themorning5.com. I wrote a free ebook on morning routines. You can download it. If you like Audible, there's an Audible version. You can read it in less than an hour. And it breaks down 5 simple steps for an extraordinary life. 5 very simple things that you can do. And it breaks down the science behind each, right? Number 1 is no snooze button. Number 2 is no phone first thing in the morning. Number 3 is write down your gratitude and goals. And there's a reason we do both. Number 4 is to take care of the physical. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. And number 5 is to send out an encouraging message, right? Those are the 5 steps. And the book breaks down the science behind that. So I would suggest download that, read that. And that's something that you can apply with your children as well. The more structured you are with your morning routine and the more structured you can be with their morning routine, the better the entire day goes. Kids need, desire, and thrive with structure. I know we sometimes use the word discipline, and we have to have that there as well. But structure is really the key. So download that, read that, connect with me that way, and just shoot me a DM if you got any questions.
Gotcha. And then
thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Heather.
Great question, Heather. Last question. What was the name of the person that you attached to the art of storytelling?
So Les Brown.
Oh, Les Brown.
Yeah, one of the greatest speakers of the last 60 years.
That is a fact.
Yeah, he's incredible.
All right, guys. Well, listen, Glenn, thank you so much. This was so powerful, man. And there's not a doubt that you're going to change millions of lives. You just changed a bunch here. And for those that watch the recording in the future, you're definitely going to change their life too. I appreciate your time, guys. Remember, our speakers who invest time into you guys, please share the call, shout them out, follow them, support them, because we need to get people like this in front of a lot of people to really help change the world. So, Glenn, thank you so much. Thank you guys for all making a commitment to yourself to be on this call. I appreciate that. And you guys all have a great day. Glenn, thank you so much again, my friend. I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you anytime.
See you guys.